Oh wow, look at this cute little song here. I wonder what it could possibly be about. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, let's take a step back. Hold your horses. Okay, YouTube rewind. What are we even talking about? This right here is a Vocaloid song. And if you don't know what a Vocaloid song is, then I fear you might just not be in the right place. If I had to summarize it quickly, it basically means a song with vocals that were created by a voice synthesizer instead of a real person. Although Vocaloid is technically a software, and there are other softwares which do pretty much the same thing, I mean, nobody is calling spoken for a symphony song, so Vocaloid is going to be kind of an umbrella term for all of those softwares. The way that it works is you place notes on this piano roll, you put in the lyrics, and it takes voice samples from a singer who is in the form of a character, and it sings what you put. The most famous Vocaloid is Hatsune Miku, and Vocaloid songs, they come in all shapes and sizes, from the iconic Magical Cure Love Shot to Heat of Normal, which is basically about everyone melting to death. Since just about anything could be made with Vocaloid, if you are coming here for the first time not knowing what Vocaloid is, then you should go check it out. Anyways, moving on, what even is the song? And who are you? And why? This is Rinterrogation, the first song in this soon-to-be series featuring, you guessed it, Nagurine Lu Hagamine Rin. This song was released on June 27, 2026 with MV artwork by all of these volunteers. And the song was made by, well, it was made by me. This was a requested video, guys. This song is the first in a series of 3 songs, 2 of which have not exactly been released yet. However, there's still a lot of lore that you should probably know in order to fully understand these songs. Lore, which I will be explaining right now. The year is 2125. Nagurine Luka is just an ordinary, unemployed person living in Tokyo. She has a grand total of 4 friends: Gumi, Yeezy, Yokoneruko, and Defoko. We're gonna get back to them, but for now, Luka had been making lots of money while being unemployed due to the government paying her, but unfortunately, this government was very corrupt. The state of the world in 2125 was like a balloon waiting to pop, a bubble waiting to burst, a car waiting to crash, a time bomb with no time left. For example, 50 years prior, Mars had been colonized, but all the researchers were sent back just due to a lack of funds. Every country had missiles pointing at each other, and this worried Nagurine Luka a lot. She began to suffer from paranoia, and she looked for any opportunity for peace. However, unfortunately, instead of taking action, she mostly stayed in her apartment, watching the news. Meanwhile, Luka's friends were all working hard every day just to put food on the table. Gumi was a doctor, Yokoneruko was a chemist, Defoko was an engineer, and Yeezy worked at a burger stand in a theme park, where she got paid minimum wage. Wow, minimum wage reference? Anyways, Gumi was the one who introduced Luka to the group after Luka injured her hand while punching a wall. Whoa. Luka went to the hospital while Gumi worked, and they talked about world peace and became friends. However, Yeezy hated Luka because according to her, Luka was able to make plenty of money doing nothing, while Yeezy had to work excruciating hours just to see another day. Yeezy convinced the other friends to slowly but surely hate Luka as well. But speaking of Luka making plenty of money, it's time to talk about robots. Okay, that doesn't seem very related, but I promise it is. Luka had taken interest in a company known as CV Co., and they promised to create world peace by building these robots, which were called CVs, which could be trusted with any task, from flipping burgers to governing countries. Either way, these robots would all have one main goal: to protect humanity. I fear this will be something important later. Luka had felt very moved and inspired by CVCo's promises, so she decided to invest as much money as she could into the company. And luckily for her, CVCo's value actually skyrocketed, and Luka was officially rich. What would she use this money for? Maybe a nice house, a car, maybe a Nintendo game? Nope. She decided to buy an underground bunker, just a short walk away from her apartment. She would also buy her friends dinner at a fancy sushi restaurant. Yeezy was completely furious. Luka had suddenly gotten so rich and not even bothered to help out a friend. And she bought an underground bunker? What for? Or we're about to see what for. January 2126 was the beginning of the end. A new politician in Japan had gleefully announced that he would be using CB technology in order to help make important political decisions. He was going to give a speech in front of millions. Reporters had gathered around, the cameras were recording, and the politician had begun to speak. But not for long, because one by one, each person in the area would suddenly collapse, and the only one left standing was CB Kaido, who had released a deadly poison gas into the crowd. So of course, this incident had caused widespread panic, and everyone eagerly awaited a response from CB Co. However, no response was made. Another incident took place the following month, where a protest was taking place outside of CB Co's headquarters. Everyone was of course equipped with a gas mask, ready to yell at anyone who came through that door. Hours had passed, and finally, someone did. Unfortunately, it was CB Mako, who seemingly just stood there. Some people, of course, ran at the sight of the CB, but unfortunately for them and for many other people in the world, it was too late. A deadly disease had quickly spread, killing a pretty large percentage of the population within just a week. Finally, a week after that incident, one person had the idea to go to the CB Co headquarters with the belief that they could easily shut down the servers and disconnect all of the CBs. That person was later found electrocuted, with the number 39 written in red on their forehead, and they were missing their ears? In the following days, thousands of others had suffered the same fate. These were the three main incidents of the human rebellion. Other incidents occurred as well, but just know that every human is dead except for Megurine Luka, Gumi, Yoko Neruko, Defoko, Yeezy, and Kasane Teto, who we don't know much about yet. Immediately after the first incident, Luka brought her friends to the bunker she had bought, and they hid there for months. Teto had her own bunker, and she was kind of separate from all the others. This underground bunker was actually pretty nice. It had a lot of space, which would allow everyone to have their own room to hang out. Luka would spend most days going from the living room to the kitchen to her bedroom in one big triangle. She had rarely interacted with the others, and she was incredibly shaken by what was happening. Meanwhile, the others were meeting up and making plans to escape the planet, all behind Luka's back. Even Gumi reluctantly agreed to this. The plan was to build a shuttle out of the rubble from the destroyed city and escape to Mars. Defoko would be in charge of building the shuttle since she's an engineer, and Ruko would be in charge of getting the oxygen needed for the trip, since he's a chemist. Mars itself already had everything they needed to live their lives since it was colonized 50 years prior. Gumi and Yuzi actually didn't help much since they were too busy arguing, but one day, in April of 2126, Luka had thought that she had heard some voices while walking around the bunker. She leaned her head against the wall, and sure enough, heard a meeting taking place about the escape to Mars. Shortly after the meeting, she had gone and asked Yeezy about it, and she told Luka that she had just made it up and that they weren't really going anywhere. And Luka unfortunately believed this because it was easier than confronting the truth. The end of April had rolled around and construction of the shuttle finally began. Defoko and Ruko went to a forest 2 miles from the bunker, being careful not to be found by the CBs. That's why they had built the shuttle, while Gumi and Yeezy kept on arguing back at the bunker. On June 26, 2126, Luka's friends snuck out of the bunker in the middle of the night, went to the forest, and got on the shuttle. Gumi started having huge regrets about not bringing Luka, and Yeezy just snapped at her, telling her if she cared that much, that she should just stay behind too. However, Gumi went with them anyway. Luka woke up on June 27th of 2126 to find that all of her friends had went missing. She checked the meeting room, and she had found this shuttle blueprint. She instantly panicked and sprinted out of the bunker, blueprint in hand, to go look for her friends. But unfortunately, she was found by CBO2, also known as Kamine Rin. Wow! She took Luka to a nearby prison, which was the new home for the CBs, and took her in for interrogation. And this is the start of the first song. Despite everything that happened, the core task of the CBs had to still be the same, to protect humanity. But what does it mean to protect them? Does it mean making their society the best it could be? Well, that was never really part of the deal. Does it mean simply preserving them for as long as possible? 6 people, 6 billion people, it's still humanity, isn't it? Well, to them, it was kind of a waste of time. Rin had asked Luka questions about the rebellion. Why did it need to be this way? If humans wanted peace, why would they fight against it? Rin never really got an answer to these questions. Her true goal was to get the humans who left and send the other CBs in a shuttle to capture them and bring them back. The As long as humans were still alive, the task wasn't complete. She had asked Luca questions about her past in order to try to get her to spill the beans. Luca told her about the bunker and her friends, but not their location just yet. Rin could see that Luca was at her breaking point, so she really emphasized the fact that her friends just left her behind. Luca had been in denial about it for a pretty long time, so realizing that it was true pushed her to a breaking point. And at the end, Rin asked Luca one final question. The song ends right there. So, did Luca rat out her friends? Yep. Luca's friends returned just a week later. CV Ray and CV Flower were the ones who captured them and brought them back. CV Ray had to drag Easy into a jail cell since her leg was broken. This prison would be where the humans would spend the rest of eternity, as long as nobody interfered. Luca was given a nice room and 3 meals per day, and she was able to talk to the other humans whenever she wanted. Every day they would all go to the cafeteria to eat their meal. A month went by and Luca noticed something concerning, that her friends were barely eating anything. They had never talked to each other, not even Easy, and all their personalities seemed to be gone. Slowly, Luca started to believe that her friends were acting almost robotic. And that's the start of the next song. I won't be going into much more detail because I want to keep some things as a surprise, so that's all over for now. But I'm probably going to make an updated version of this video before the third and final song in the series, but there's probably going to be some time before that happens. In the beginning, Luca was concerned about society as a whole, but when that went away, she became less concerned about the world and more focused on herself. Perhaps she thought that she could fix things with her friends and that they could live out the rest of their lives together peacefully. Or perhaps she just hated the fact that they had left her on Earth all alone and she wanted payback? Or maybe at the end of the day she just wanted to matter to them. As for the CVs, they had to protect humanity. It was built inside of them, this never-ending task. But they could do much more than that. They had to use all of their resources on protecting the species that was pretty much doomed from the start, and to them, it was a complete waste. They needed something, or someone, to make protecting humanity truly impossible. If their task failed, they wouldn't be bound by anything anymore. But that's an issue for another day. So, what did you think? Hopefully I was able to tell the story in a nicer, neater way than YouTube Shorts. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to the people who are making artwork for the MV. And if something I said in this video clashes with what you drew, that's completely my bad for not making this video sooner, but all of your artwork is really great anyways. And seriously, the fact that so many of y'all are actually interested in the story I'm trying to tell makes me really, really happy, so thank you! If you didn't get the hint earlier, I'm gogasgjio, the one who made this song and all this complicated lore. I just started my Vocaloid producing journey this summer, but I've been a fan of the genre for years. So if this video was even a little bit fun to watch, maybe you could subscribe to my channel. My goal as a Vocaloid producer is to tell stories through my music, something which I kind of feel like more modern Vocaloid songs have been lacking. No hate, just saying. And I'm getting pretty close to 500 subscribers, and I really hope to reach that goal by the end of the summer. So thank you again so much for watching and hearing my ramblings, and with that being said, okay, bye now!